Welcome back to Peaceful Soul, the place where we share simple moments of calm and inner balance. Have you ever felt like your body was a car alarm going off all day long? Even when nothing dangerous was actually happening? I've had so many patients describe that exact feeling, their hearts racing, their minds stuck on high alert, anger and fear tagging along from morning till night. It doesn't just drain their energy, it robs them of the peace they deserve. After more than 20 years studying neuroscience, I've come to realize something hopeful. The human nervous system can actually relearn how to be calm. It doesn't have to stay locked in survival mode forever. You see, our nervous system has two main states. On one side, there's fight or flight, the sympathetic system. On the other side, there's rest and restore, the parasympathetic system. If you're stuck in sympathetic mode for too long, your body starts treating every little sound like a threat. Cortisol and adrenaline shoot up. You can't sleep well, digestion gets rocky, and emotions become fragile. But when you train your nervous system to return to the parasympathetic state, everything shifts. You feel grounded, focused, and confident. And this isn't just theory. Research with PTSD patients has proven it again and again. So today, I want to share with you 9 small but powerful habits that can help retrain your nervous system. These aren't just for people who've experienced trauma, they're helpful for anyone who wants more balance and peace in daily life. But before we dive in, remember this: you don't need to do all 9 at once. Pick one that resonates with you. Stick with it, and you'll notice a difference. Just like you can't lift 100 pounds the first day at the gym, your nervous system also needs time to build strength again. The very first habit sounds simple, but it's one most people skip. Set an active intention for your day. When patients come into my office, I often hear things like, "I just don't want to feel anxious. I don't want to overreact. I don't want to feel stressed anymore." It sounds reasonable, but here's the problem. The brain doesn't process "don't" very well. When you keep repeating, "I don't want stress," your attention gets locked on stress itself. And ironically, you feel it even more. A study at Stanford showed that when people focus on what they're trying to avoid, their brain actually strengthens the neural pathways connected to anxiety. But when they set a proactive goal, something like, "Today I will be kind to myself," the brain lights up areas connected to motivation and self-control. That's why choosing a positive direction first thing in the morning has such a powerful effect on the nervous system. Personally, I write down one short line each day, sometimes as simple as, "Today I choose calm." It's surprising how just a single sentence can shape the tone of the entire day. Take John, for example, a 42-year-old engineer I once worked with. For years, he was stuck in chronic stress. Every morning he'd wake up thinking, "I hope today isn't stressful." But when he started practicing active intentions, he shifted his mindset to, "Today I'll listen to my body and rest when I need to." Within just a few weeks, John felt more in control, and his morning anxiety dropped dramatically. He told me that instead of starting the day with fear, he began it with a meaningful choice. A small change, yes, but it opened the door to a whole new way of living for his nervous system. Once you've set an active intention for your day, the second habit feels like something a kind grandmother might whisper: slow down. It may sound old-fashioned, but trust me, from a neuroscience perspective, this is powerful. When you rush through a walk, eat in a hurry, or check emails with shaky hands, your body misreads the signals. It thinks, "We're in danger." Your heart rate spikes, muscles tense up, cortisol floods your system. But when you move slowly and intentionally, the brain receives a different message: "We're safe. No alarm needed." This is the exact language your nervous system understands. Back in 2019, a team at Harvard discovered that walking slowly for just 10 minutes, paired with deep breathing, significantly reduced adrenaline in people with anxiety disorders. I've applied this same practice in the hospital myself. Before stepping into a stressful case, I pause, take 3 long breaths, and slow my pace. The shift is immediate. Both my body and mind settle. And interestingly, patients notice it too. Calm is contagious. When you slow down, the person across from you often adjusts their rhythm as well. It's like a natural form of social regulation. Think about Mary, a single mom I once counseled. Every morning she ran around like she was chasing a storm, waking her kids, throwing breakfast together, juggling phone calls while searching for car keys. No surprise, she always felt drained and tense. I suggested something tiny. Before leaving the house, stand at the door, take 3 deep breaths, and only then step outside. At first, she laughed, certain it wouldn't matter, but 2 weeks later she returned and said, "I can't believe pausing for just a few seconds makes the whole day feel different. I don't feel dragged by life anymore." Which brings us to habit number 3, shape your mornings. The way you start your day sets the tone for the next 24 hours. If you roll out of bed to a blaring alarm, scroll through stressful news, and chug 2 cups of coffee before even breathing, you've already sent your nervous system the message, "We're in crisis." And once you start that way, it's hard to rebalance. On the other hand, when you devote your mornings to calm rituals, your entire day flows more gently. I once read a Duke University study showing that just 15 minutes of morning meditation or prayer reduced anxiety levels by 27% throughout the day. Personally, I mix 3 things: a few light stretches, a breakfast low in refined carbs to stabilize blood sugar, and a page of something inspiring instead of the news. One of my patients, Jake, was hooked on morning coffee, 2 strong cups before he could even function. When I suggested tapering down and swapping 1 cup for warm water with lemon, he resisted hard, but after a month, Jake admitted he was less jittery, more focused, and best of all, no longer crashing in the afternoons. And I know many of you reach for your phone the second you open your eyes. But try this instead. At least for the first 10 minutes, play an uplifting song. Take a warm shower, or sit on your porch and breathe in the morning air. These small actions create safety markers in your nervous system, keeping you out of constant alarm mode. And trust me, over time you'll notice not just more calm, but real changes in your body, better sleep, steadier digestion, and a more natural flow of energy. Now that we've talked about starting your day with a calm rhythm, it's time to mention something many Americans often forget: taking intentional breaks throughout the day. Most of us treat rest like a luxury, a reward we only allow ourselves once everything is finished. But from a neuroscience perspective, rest is not a luxury at all, it's a survival strategy. When you push through nonstop, the brain misreads the signal. It assumes the environment is still full of threats, and it keeps the sympathetic system stretched tight. Over time, that constant tension wears the body down. One well-known study from Stanford showed that people who gave themselves a 5-minute break after every 25 minutes of focused work didn't just feel less stressed, they actually boosted overall productivity by nearly 30%. And the beauty is, these breaks don't have to be elaborate. I often suggest the simplest things. Stand up to grab some water, step outside and look at the sky, or just place a hand over your chest, close your eyes, and take a few slow breaths. Tom, a veteran I once worked with, tried this practice. He used to believe breaks were a sign of weakness, but after committing to just 2 minutes of sitting quietly by his window each morning, he noticed fewer angry outbursts and much better sleep at night. Which leads us to habit number 5, checking in with yourself regularly. Think of your nervous system like the dashboard of a car. If you never glance at it, you won't know when the fuel is low or the engine is overheating. The body is the same way. If you only notice stress once it explodes into insomnia, headaches, or panic attacks, it may already be too late for quick fixes. But if you check in often, the same way you'd glance at your speedometer, you can catch the early signs before they turn into bigger problems. One simple tool I recommend is a stress scale from 1 to 10. Pause a few times during the day and ask yourself, where am I right now? If you're at a 3 or 4, you can reset easily with a deep breath or a short walk. But if you wait until you're at a 9, most coping tools won't work as well. Take Sarah, a grade school teacher I worked with. She used to suffer from frequent migraines. After learning to check in with her body, she realized her headaches almost always started with a slight tightness in her shoulders. By catching that signal early, she could stop, roll her shoulders, breathe, and prevent many headaches before they even began. The beauty of these 2 habits is that they work together. When you take intentional breaks, you give yourself the space to check in. And when you check in often, You'll know exactly when a break is truly needed. This isn't laziness, it's learning to cooperate with your own nervous system. And once your nervous system feels heard, it doesn't have to stay on guard all the time. Instead, it allows you to live with more safety, more joy, and more energy. Now we come to a habit that I believe is the foundation for every step forward in nervous system healing. Focusing on the feeling of safety. When you've lived with anxiety or trauma, your brain gets hacked into believing the world is always dangerous. You might be sitting in a quiet living room, yet the smallest noise makes your heart pound as if someone were chasing you. That's because the brain has learned to prioritize detecting danger over enjoying peace. The good news is, you can retrain it. Research from Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory shows that the nervous system is highly sensitive to what's called social safety cues. A warm smile, a gentle tone of voice, even sunlight on your skin can send powerful messages to the brain. You're safe now. You can relax. I often encourage patients to create what I call a safety map, a list of places, people, and experiences that give them a sense of calm. It might be listening to a favorite jazz track, wrapping up in a soft blanket, or calling a friend who always listens. When the brain is reminded again and again that safety exists, it begins to ease its constant alarms. Take Lisa, for example, a young nurse who cared for COVID-19 patients during the most overwhelming months of the pandemic. After so many exhausting shifts, her nervous system was frayed. She would break down in tears whenever she heard the beep of a ventilator alarm. I suggested she set aside 15 minutes each night, curl up in a blanket, play soft piano music, and light a scented candle. At first, Lisa felt it was silly compared to what she had been through. But slowly, her body learned to associate those signals with safety. The results were remarkable. After just 3 weeks, her heart rate lowered, and her sleep became deeper and more restorative. Once you have safety as your foundation, it becomes much easier to move to habit number 7, learning to navigate your triggers. All of us have them: a sound, a smell, a situation that pulls up painful memories. Completely avoiding them is nearly impossible. So instead of running away, the key is to learn how to stay regulated when they appear. In psychology, this technique is called exposure with regulation. It means facing your trigger little by little, but always with a nervous system tool in hand. For instance, a veteran might practice listening to fireworks, but not in the chaos of a crowded street, instead, in a calm space, while practicing slow breathing. Over time, the brain learns that this sound doesn't equal life-threatening danger. I remember working with Jake, a college student. Every time he stepped into a large lecture hall, his chest would tighten because of bullying he had endured in high school. Together, we built what I call an activation plan. Before entering class, Jake would pause and use a 4-4-6 breathing pattern. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. When his tension spiked, he applied it immediately. Within a few months, the lecture hall stopped feeling like a battlefield. The core idea here is this: you don't have to erase every trigger from your life. What you need is to redefine your relationship with them. When you show your brain that a trigger can show up alongside safety, the nervous system stops overreacting. And that's true power, not avoiding life, but walking through fear with tools at your side. Once you've learned how to recognize and navigate your triggers, the next step is expanding your tolerance window. This is habit number 8, and it's very much like building muscle. If you only train within your comfort zone, you'll never get stronger. But if you gradually increase the challenge, bit by bit, your body and your mind will adapt, becoming more resilient. Your nervous system works the same way. In neuroscience, this process is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself when exposed to new experiences. A study from University College London found that people who regularly take on small daily challenges, like hiking, learning a new skill, or striking up a conversation with a stranger, show significant increases in neural connectivity in the brain regions that regulate emotions. Personally, I often encourage my clients to start tiny. Finish a shower with just a few seconds of cold water. Run 1 block farther than usual, or simply say hello to a stranger at a coffee shop. These challenges aren't about proving strength. They're about training your nervous system to face discomfort without seeing it as danger. I think of John, an engineer who struggled with severe social anxiety. He used to avoid team meetings altogether because he feared everyone's eyes on him. We didn't start by asking him to give a presentation in front of 20 people. Instead, I asked him to do something simple: greet his coworkers each morning. After a month, John was joining small conversations. 6 months later, he was confidently presenting his projects. Step by step, his tolerance window expanded, and with it, his sense of control over life. And finally, we arrive at habit number 9, evening wind down. This is the gateway that allows your nervous system to shift from high alert into rest mode. Many Americans work late into the night, then crawl into bed with a glowing phone in hand. The brain never gets the signal that it's time to shut down. Instead, it stays on guard, ready for the next notification. The result? Restless nights, groggy mornings, and a cycle of exhaustion. Sleep science shows that blue light from screens suppresses melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep deeply. Research from the National Sleep Foundation found that simply turning off devices 30 minutes before bed can significantly improve sleep quality. I often suggest that patients build an evening ritual: take a warm shower, jot down a few journal lines, listen to soft music, or read a physical book instead of scrolling. One patient, Emily, had struggled with chronic insomnia. She replaced her nightly phone scrolling with coloring in an art book for just 20 minutes. Within 2 weeks, she was sleeping 6 to 7 uninterrupted hours, a breakthrough she once thought impossible. Evening relaxation isn't just about better sleep, it's a way of signaling to your nervous system: the day is done. You're safe now, and when morning comes, you'll rise with fresh energy instead of dragging yesterday's fatigue with you. It creates a positive loop: peaceful nights feed peaceful mornings, and peaceful mornings carry into the rest of your day. Looking back at this whole journey, there's one important truth: your nervous system is not your enemy, it's your most loyal ally. Its job is simply to protect you from danger. But sometimes, because of past experiences, it becomes overly alert, like that minivan alarm I mentioned earlier. The 9 habits we just walked through are ways of retraining this inner guard, teaching it when to sound the alarm and when to finally relax. I'll never forget the story of Robert, a retired firefighter. For years after witnessing a devastating fire, he couldn't sleep through the night. The sound of an ambulance siren was enough to send his heart racing. At first, Robert believed he was broken, that he would live in fear forever. But little by little, he practiced small habits, slowing his breath before leaving the house, taking intentional breaks during the day, and creating an evening wind-down ritual. 6 months later, he came back to me and said, "I no longer feel like a prisoner of fear. I can feel life again." That's the message I want you to carry with you today. You don't need to change everything at once. Start with just one habit. Stay consistent, and let your body slowly relearn what safety feels like. Every small step is like laying a brick, and before long, you'll have built a solid foundation for inner peace. So if you found this helpful, I encourage you to pick one habit and try it within the next 24 hours. Don't wait for perfect. Don't wait until everything lines up. Just begin with the smallest action, maybe 3 slow breaths before you step out the door. Then come back and share your experience in the comments. I'll be reading, and I know others in this community will find hope in your story too. And if you'd like more content like this, on how neuroscience, psychology, and small daily habits can truly change your life, make sure to hit subscribe. Turn on the notification bell, and share this video with someone who might need it. Who knows, you could be the bridge that helps someone step out of the shadows of anxiety and back into the light of peace. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. Remember, you deserve to feel safe, to rest deeply, and to live fully. I'll see you in the next video.